Today we've gone back to one of the 3D printers, the Ender 5 that I bought recently. I bought this second hand with a bunch of spare parts. It was in bits, not particularly ready to go, so I rebuilt it. It's got a big tree board in it already, which was quite good, and colour display. And after I'd rebuilt it, it kind of worked okay. I thought I'd do some upgrades to it, and the idea was to give it a direct drive upgrade. So I went out and had a look what was available, and surprisingly for the Ender 5, the direct drive market seems to be a bit strange. There doesn't appear to be a whole lot out there. It's nowhere near as popular as the Ender 3 for direct drives, and there are a few options, and I eventually came across this one on Prime, which had a number of options to build this direct drive, and it had either a single gear drive or a dual gear drive. I didn't know the difference until about 3 days ago. But the dual gear drive actually has two meshed gears here rather than one gear and one knurled nut on the actual motor, which gives a much more positive drive. So I had a look through. You could buy the plate with the fittings, or you could buy the plate and the dual gear extractor, or with the motor, which I should have gone for really. I'll more on that later. Or the plate and the single gear. I didn't really want to go for the single gear because it wasn't much of an upgrade. So I went for the dual plate gear, and we'll get into that as we go through the build process and upgrading this printer. I made a few mistakes while I was rebuilding the printer previously. Anyway, it was £30 near enough, and it arrived within a couple of days. And what I also did was to design and on-shape this wire guide, which bolts to the extruder. This allows the wires to be supported properly on the printer. I'll print it on the Ender 3 in the end. We're also going to be added a 3D mounted wire guide. Designed this on shape. It's so we can fix this issue with the wires just dangling around. I'm not too keen on that. So yeah, the Ender 5 is currently still printing something. We'll be upgrading, and then we'll be upgrading from non-direct drive to a direct drive. So I bought off Amazon for about £28 a dual gear extruder upgrade kit for a direct drive, the Ender 5. This is slightly different to your average extruder, the ones you get for about £10, because it's actually got two gears, which mesh. So this gear actually fits onto your step motor and meshes, and if you can see there, it'll focus the groove there, so it's got a double drive on it. This is like any other metal extruder upgrade that you get for an Ender 3, the original plastic extruder. It's an upgrade from the original Ender 3 extruder. You can get these in metal as an upgrade. You see there, that's the drive wheel, and that's against just a knurled nut. Not very good. I'll keep that just in case, you never know. The rest of the kit includes the extruder. I've loosened off the adjustable wheel so I can get it on. The extruder, extension cable for the stepper motor, a piece of Bowden cable, and a new high tension spring. So we'll be fitting that to the Ender 5. So the Ender 5 is currently printing, so is the Ender 3. And once they're both done, we'll be doing the upgrade. So this is my 3D printed wire guide. I just drew it up. And these are the bushes that would normally go in here. I'm just going to press them into place. A nice snug fit, so don't rock about at all, don't create any movement between the stepper motor extruder, so they're going quite nicely like that. And they're going to fit like this. Go through the back plate and screw that down nice and tight. That will give us the guidance for the wires that come off the extruder. Just keep them nice and taut up there. There's little holes for the cable ties. Okay, so we're back on the end of 5. We're about to do the extruder upgrade kit and the direct drive. The double-ended extruder. All the bits and pieces in the box. The first thing we're going to do, I'll just do this off screen, is unload and we'll unplug it from the actual . And this is the bit that I always struggle with, is trying to there we go. And that's our return extruder. We're not going to need most of this board and tube, but we'll remove that in a minute. In the kit is an extension. I've actually got some 1 metre cables coming for the other printer. We'll just use this for the moment. Right. We need to clear these old cable ties. Release the cabling. And release the board and tube entirely from the hot end. Next we're going to remove the old extruder. I'll show you the difference. Show you the difference in this now actually. I get the two next to each other. Just grab you off there. Right, so let's show you the difference between the two extruders. This is the standard metal extruder that replaces the cheap plastic ones. They're quite a common upgrade. This is the standard, however, toothed gear or toothed wheel on the motor, and then the pinch roller. With the new dual extruder, it replaces the gear with interlocking gears and then two drive gears. Looks like this has been messed around with in the past. I bought this printer second hand, so it's missing a few, well, it was missing a few bits. Don't know what this metal plate is here that's being added on. to wind that out or in one way or the other. With the Allen keys, be quicker. It's getting in the way. Right, so this is a new plate and it sits like that with the motor on the back and the extruder sitting on the front, like that. First thing we need to do though is get rid of this toothed wheel, which appears to be pressed on, which could be a pain. Okay, so I stuck the wheel in a vise and then just levered it off, which did the job. I then have to drop the new drive cover on, which goes that way up, and fine. And then we're going to mount this bottom bolt here. And get that lined up. So we've got the new extruder. I'm going to mount that first on this corner because it's relatively easy. I need to tighten that up actually. Okay, what I've just found is that this gear is never going to mate up with that gear without being right at the top of the shaft. So I'm going to check this other Creality motor, which I've just taken off the Ender 3, which is still in bits awaiting some upgrades. Take it all apart again. Watching the Ender 3, if it needs a has to have one with a shorter shaft, it doesn't matter, but this is a pitfall you might have to watch out for. Because Creality have used so many different bits and pieces, and it's not always easy to get exactly the right bits and pieces, so having a bunch of spares kicking around. If you look there, the length on the Ender 3 motor is a lot longer than on the Ender 5. They're both badged as Creality 4240s. Just this one is smaller, that will go back on the Ender 3. So let's whip off its drive gear. When you're doing these sort of things, it's always useful to have a spare printer and lots of spare parts. Be very careful when doing this that you don't lose the grub screws. They pop off really easily and then just disappear forever. Actually, drive gear on this old motor probably needs replaced. I don't think I can use the one I've just taken off the Ender 5. That was a press on one. I'm still the Ender 3 is going to need a new drive gear before too long. Looking at that. Let's try and get these grub screws back in. Put that out of the way. And over there. Here we go again. So we've got the Ender 5, lower drive gear. Fortunately, this has a D shaft on it, so that's better in fact, because it gives more traction on the rollers. It does mean that the Ender 3 is now at a disadvantage, but it's quite a tight fit on that. I'm not particularly happy about that. I'll have to right, okay, so we're ready. So back to where we were. Now we can get the arm in place. And then check I've put the gear on upside down. Take the mesh height. Just get a little screwdriver and tease back up until the gears align. And then give the drive gear a good old tighten down. Tease the spring in. Finally tighten the arm down. And that's the extruder fitted. Just checking the carriage width there, because when I did this on the end of 3, the carriage was actually narrower and the belt didn't fit properly. And just tease the belt out. And the right Allen key yet again. Why everything couldn't be the same size, I don't know. Move the carriage, stick it in the spares drawer. I've already released the 2 bottom adjustable mounts. Just feed it into place. And then these bottom ones are the adjustables, so we're going to loosely tighten those up. And then we'll check the amount of movement. There's no movement, which is good. We'll just do a final tighten on those. And again, just check for any wobble. So no, that's very solid. And then attach the drive belt. Right, now I have to get the hot end and get that not only mounted, but the feed pipe correct length. So I've got some of the new tubing that came with the extractor. What you need to do is measure how much goes in. Measure how far it goes into the extruder, then measure how far the extruder is away. So the way to do this, once you've measured how far deep it goes, get yourself something like an old cable tie. Bend it over, and from where it enters there, that is going to be your cut mark. Just there. once you snip the board and tube, just make sure you expand it out, give it a bit of a ream with whatever you've got. So I've just been doing a bit of cleaning for the hot end where it's leaked during a failed print. And because of the close proximity, the chance of the board and tube moving is virtually zero, so you don't really need the clips in there. I could put one in, but I don't think I've actually got one for this black end. We've got this CR touch or BL touch sensor, I don't know which one it is. I've not actually bothered to get it working yet. I've actually managed to get some reasonable prints so far out of this old thing without needing it. Right, so we're just sorting out the wiring for the stepper motor into the trunk. I'm going to get some cable ties. Just show you that. That's going to keep the cables nice and neat there. I've got this pair of holes here, which I'm going to feed cable tie through first. Tidy up the ends on the sock. They're starting to fray. I'm just causing a mess. We'll pull it back. We've tidied the ends on the sock. I'm going to give it a little bit of tape to keep it taut and tight. Frayed. A little bit of tape to keep it clean. Give it a haircut. Full mount is going to go on here temporarily. The spool is located off to this side, so this just allows it to slide over. And push that down into the extruder. That should be us good to go. And then with that at its full extent, we know where we're going to cable tie the extruder cable. Well, that's the final install. This is used to guide the filament, which just rests on there. The cabling is free to move without any impediment. Nothing getting in the way. Lovely jubbly.